Mr. Packard, 13 years ago in your book called The Waste Makers, you predicted that in 13 years there would be an energy crisis. We're 13 years later, there is an energy crisis. But I'm curious to know, at the time the book came out and you made that prediction, did it go unnoticed, or what kind of reaction did you get?
On that specific item, no one noticed it as right now. I was talking about oil. I was talking about other irreplaceable resources such as iron and zinc. I don't remember any specific reaction to all of it.
Did you just throw oil in along with other natural resources, or did you have some figures?
No, on oil I did some figuring on it, just simple arithmetic, and then what our known sources were and what our current consumption was, and it just projected it, and it came out to 13 years. And actually, we were in our oil crisis. You saw it on the front pages of or on the business pages at least, all last May and June. This is before the Arab crisis ever developed. We'd started into this crisis.
Do you care to make any predictions as to when we'll get some relief from it?
Since you're from Texas, you probably know more than I do about that.
Don't bet on it.
I would guess that not in this decade. I don't think that we'll get much relief. I think we won't have much more fuel than we have right now for the next 7 or 8 years. But this isn't necessarily disastrous because we've been so profligate in our use of energy, and we're already learning vast savings can be made. And if you really want to make the biggest savings of all, you'd raise it just by 1 year, raise the age rate that the kids can start driving cars, because these 16-year-old kids driving, practically all they're driving is just to show off to the girls, or the girls showing off to the boys. Let them wait a year.
Do you believe it is a real crisis?
It's a real crisis, yes, in the sense that we're going to be up against a shortage of fuel until we get something really basic in a way of change, such as the hydrogen fusion, something like that.
Do you foresee gasoline rationing?
Yes, I do. Maybe not this spring, but I bet you we'll have it within a year.
If we can change the subject to something you talked about here at the conference, and that was the American family being such a mobile family. What are the statistics on that, Mr. Packard, in relation to other nations?
Well, we're twice as mobile as Europeans in terms of moving, 4 times as mobile as Japanese. 42 million Americans move every year, and the rate has been going up, at least according to the telephone disconnect rates. And it may level off now some because of this energy crisis. I hope it does.
Why
it
are
would be
we...
a good thing. And one of the things that's going to happen, I think, is that you're going to see a slowing down of the growth of suburbs and a revival of downtown areas. And this is good because the most disheartening thing to me as I go about the country is flying over cities, is seeing it at night, say at 10 o'clock at night. The whole downtown area is practically black, and you see this great ring of light around it on the edges. This is a strange way to make a metropolitan area, I think.
You think this may be the salvation, then, of cities?
I think it's going to help, yes.
Mm-hmm. Why are Americans so mobile?
Well, partly restlessness, partly the growth of giant organizations, like giant corporations, giant bureaucracies that have developed a habit of assuming that they can move their people all over the landscape whenever they want to, and as interchangeable cogs without giving any thought to what the impact is on the family, the wife, the children. What we're seeing changes here again because the woman, the wife, all of a sudden in the last decade, women by the millions are going into serious careers, television personalities, psychiatric social workers, interior designers. And when the man is told by the company that he's the lucky fellow's just gotten a promotion to Provo, Utah, the wife is going to say, if she's a psychiatrist, well, what am I going to do in Provo? Because she has her clientele, say in Dallas or Fort Worth. And this is creating resistances that companies such as IBM and General Electric and Kaiser and Sears and others are starting to recognize.